Everyone was wrong about the iPhone 15 Pro. From the fragility of the device, problems with overheating, other random issues, that along with the lack of a redesign, most have labeled this the worst iPhone Apple has ever made. That's what a lot of people who have the iPhone 15 Pro have been saying to the public. After owning my own iPhone 15 Pro Max, I'd go as far as saying that everyone was wrong and this is the best iPhone Apple has ever made. First of all, as far as I know, there's literally one video on the whole internet where somebody successfully bends the iPhone 15 Pro Max and cracks the back glass. And that guy is huge. Now, I must admit, yes, it is a little bit more vulnerable than previous iPhones. Most people who will be buying the iPhone 15 Pro, in fact, if you're in the market for it right now, you're probably sticking a case on that thing. That's what I did. Or they get Apple Care or some form of phone insurance. So the durability factor in my eyes isn't that big of an issue. Besides, glass is glass. Glass breaks if it hits a surface hard enough. And the nice thing is, Apple has made this iPhone more repairable. In fact, it's arguably the most repairable iPhone out there. And in the rare case that it does break, Apple doesn't charge you an arm and a leg like they did before, because before they'd have to replace the whole unit. Now they can easily just swap out the back glass for a couple $100. Like, yes, it's a couple $100, but that's much better than paying $500 or $600 out of pocket just to get the back glass fixed. Another thing is that a lot of people have been complaining about smudges on the titanium frame of the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. Yes, it does smudge a little bit more than most people would have liked, but if you compare it to the previous iPhone 14 Pro with the stainless steel, it's nowhere near as bad, trust me. And the best part about having a titanium frame is how light it makes the phone. This feels drastically lighter than my 14 Pro, which is a smaller device. Plus, with the slightly curved back, it makes this phone much easier to hold. The action button has been another topic of debate. A lot of people have been saying it's useless. A lot of people have been saying it's super useful. And there's people in between that are like, I don't know what to use this thing for. Now, it is really, really cool if you actually take the time to study, use it, experiment with different things. The fact that I've mapped it to a shortcut where the behavior of the action button changes depending on the focus mode I'm in. Like if I'm in the work focus mode, I press and hold, opens Asana. If I'm in my church one, I press and hold and it opens the Bible app. It's 100 times better than the mute switch. Like I didn't even use the mute switch. Like being able to have a button that I can change to do whatever I want on the phone is something that you don't really expect from a company like Apple, where their devices aren't really that customizable. Yes, of course, it is slightly hard to reach in some cases, but you just have to get used to it. And the bottom line is, if you don't like the action button at all, you don't have to use it. Nobody's forcing you to. Now, a feature I would say is quite overrated is USB-C. Like, yes, it's cool. You can plug a SSD straight into your 15 Pro Max and record and log and all that good jazz. But most people will actually find this port annoying, and it will take a little while to get used to it. Because think about it, if you switch to the iPhone 15 Pro now, you have to get all new chargers, all new accessories. Let's say you go to a friend's house, they have the older iPhones, they don't have the money or they don't care about the newer iPhones. So you ask them for a charger and they're like, here's a charger, and they give you a lightning charger. I bet so many people are gonna be in that situation, they're gonna be like, why did Apple change the port again? Yes, USB-C is nice, but don't get used to it because Apple's probably gonna get rid of it within the next couple years and go completely portless. But quick side note, it is cool that you can charge other devices with it. It just would be cool if you could charge just like you could like on like a Samsung phone with reverse wireless charging. But that brings me to probably the best feature of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that's the battery life. I've honestly been blown away with the battery performance on this thing. Like, I have not gone a day where I've had to charge this or else it would die. Actually, no, that's a lie. There was one day I was playing PUBG Mobile for like 3 or 4 hours. So of course it won't last that long if you're gaming for half the day, but I'm getting like 5.5 to 9 hours of screen on time every single day, which compared to my iPhone 14 Pro is literally insane. I even managed to get over 10 hours of screen on time one day, and that was literally something I've never experienced before. Now I'm hoping iOS 17 updates don't ruin the battery, because knowing Apple, that's probably gonna happen. But so far, with the heavy usage that I've been doing with this phone, I have been very impressed. I'd say the cameras are super impressive as well, and definitely underrated. The fact that you technically have 7 different focal lengths, 7 different cameras on this one phone is just crazy. The new ultra wide is also really, really good for macro photos. I've literally been addicted to taking macro photos. The new 5x telephoto lens is also pretty good. when it works. Doesn't work half the time for some reason. And the selfie camera is also pretty good too. Very similar to my 14 Pro. And also with the fact that you have a variety of different formats you can shoot in. You can shoot in ProRAW, you can shoot in log, all of this different stuff with the cameras. And even the fact that you can just plug it straight into an SSD thanks to that USB-C port. It makes me think like how many people are gonna be replacing their DSLRs or mirrorless cameras or even cinema cameras in favor of a much smaller device that does pretty much everything that device does. Like yes, maybe the quality is not as good as an 8K RED camera, but for most shoots and stuff, this is gonna be really, really good. Like I can definitely see a bunch of content creators switching completely to an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Why buy a phone and a camera when your phone can do both? It's quite insane that the last Apple event was completely and entirely shot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But I actually kind of like the direction Apple is going into, where they're not focusing so much on big features and changes of design, but they're just refining the device more and more as years go on, making it a much better experience for users every single year. Now, I did upgrade from an iPhone 14 Pro to the 15 Pro Max for a number of different reasons, like the battery, the cameras, that kind of stuff. And you'd think that there isn't much of a difference between the two, but as I said, like this feels like the most refined, the most near perfect iPhone I've used. And honestly, there is quite a bit of a difference between this and the 14 Pro, and there's not really anything I dislike. Now, in conclusion, I'm not saying you have to upgrade to the iPhone 15 Pro if you have a 14 Pro. That probably doesn't make any sense. But if you have something like an iPhone 12 Pro, 12 Pro Max, something older than that, then you're gonna be perfectly content with these phones. In fact, probably more than content. You're gonna be amazed. Of course, I would recommend the Max model, which is the one that I've got simply because of the battery. Got a bigger screen as well. And honestly, you may think the size is too big. Once you start using it, you'll get used to it. So I'd say if you have the money to spare, if you're looking for an upgrade, if you're looking for the best iPhone that you can ever buy, then the iPhone 15 Pro Max is gonna be the perfect iPhone for you. You're not gonna be disappointed. What do you guys think? Is the iPhone 15 Pro worth it in your eyes? Are you gonna upgrade? I'll be in the comments, and also I'll catch you in the next video, so make sure you subscribe. Oh, and also check out this video. YouTube thinks you should watch it.